when a fire killed his father and stole his sight. Everyone thought Jahi Campbell's dream of becoming a surgeon had died too. They were wrong. Blind since the age of 4, Jahi developed abilities no one could explain. He could identify surgical instruments by touch alone, detect illness through scent, map entire buildings from memory, and hear details in a patient's body that even experienced doctors missed. By 12, he was assisting in surgeries, memorizing medical textbooks in Braille, and solving problems that left seasoned surgeons speechless. But everything changed the day he heard a scream coming from a forbidden wing of the hospital. Behind those locked doors, Seoul's most feared mafia boss lay dying on an operating table surrounded by armed men. As terrified surgeons prepared to perform a procedure that would have killed him within minutes, a blind orphan stepped forward and stopped them. Then, against all logic, he guided the operation that saved the crime lord's life. From that moment, their fates became inseparable. What Jahi didn't know was that the man he saved was tied to a secret from his uncle's past, a secret buried for 30 years. And as enemies began closing in, the young genius would find himself caught between two worlds, one dedicated to saving lives, and another built on blood, power, and revenge. Soon, Jahi would discover that the fire that destroyed his childhood wasn't the only truth hidden from him, and the answers waiting in the shadows could change everything he thought he knew about his family, his future, and the father he never stopped trying to make proud. Chapter 1. The Fire. The match was almost as long as Jahi's finger. He held it the way Daddy had shown him. Thumb and forefinger, steady grip, respect the flame. The matchbox sat heavy in his other palm, red and white striped, the scratch strip rough under his small thumb. One swift motion, Jahi boy. Like this. Daddy's laboratory smelled like it always did. Formaldehyde sharp enough to make his nose wrinkle. Old paper and leather from the medical books stacked everywhere. And coffee, always coffee. Black with too much sugar, in the mug that said "World's Best Surgeon," that Jahi had picked out for Father's Day. The mug sat on the desk now, half empty, still warm. Daddy had only been gone 2 minutes, maybe 3. "Stay here, don't touch anything. I'll be right back." But the Bunsen burner sat there waiting, and the rabbit specimen lay ready on the metal tray. Daddy had promised they'd examine its heart chambers together, see how the valves worked, trace the pathways of life. Jahi wanted to help, wanted everything ready when Daddy came back, wanted to see Daddy's face light up with that smile that meant, "I'm proud of you, son." The phone call had sounded important. A patient, the hospital. Someone needed Daddy, because Daddy was the best, and everyone knew it. Jahi could do this one simple thing. Light the burner. Be ready. He struck the match. The flame bloomed orange and yellow, dancing at the tip like a tiny sunset. Beautiful, alive, warm on his face even from here. He moved it toward the burner. His hand, still chubby with the softness of 4 years old, wobbled slightly. The match slipped. Not much. Just a finger's width. Just enough. It landed on the stack of papers beside the burner. Daddy's research notes. Years and years of work. Techniques no one else had discovered. Surgeries that saved lives. Everything important. The paper caught. 1 page curled brown, then black, then orange. 2 pages. 5. The whole stack erupting like the papers were hungry for it. "Daddy!" The scream tore from Jahi's throat. "Daddy!" He grabbed at the papers, tried to pat out the flames like he'd seen in cartoons. His palms screamed. The fire grew, spread to the curtains. The chemical smell changed. Sharper, meaner, wrong. The jars on the shelves, the formaldehyde. The door crashed open. Jahi. Daddy filled the doorway, eyes wide, finding his son first. Always first. Then the fire climbing the curtains like it was racing toward the ceiling. No hesitation. Daddy grabbed the wet blanket from the specimen table, the one he kept there for emergencies. "Always be prepared, Jahi boy," and threw it over Jahi's small body. The wet wool smelled like mildew and chemicals and safety. "Run!" Daddy's voice. The one that meant obey, no questions, right now. Out the door, down the stairs. Don't stop. Don't look back. But Jahi's legs obeyed before his brain caught up. That's what you did when Daddy used that voice. You listened. You obeyed. You trusted. He ran. The blanket slipped off his shoulders as he stumbled through the doorway into the hall. Behind him, sounds that would live in his nightmares forever. Daddy coughing. Things crashing. Glass shattering. Jahi stopped at the top of the stairs. Turned back. Through the smoke pouring through the doorway, he saw Daddy inside. Not running. Not following. Grabbing papers. Stuffing them into his medical bag. Trying to save the research. The ceiling above him groaned. A sound like the building was in pain. Daddy, come on. His father looked up, found Jahi's eyes across the smoke and chaos, smiled. That smile, the one that meant I love you more than anything. You're my whole world, my greatest achievement. The ceiling beam cracked, made a sound like thunder, fell. Daddy. Hands grabbed Jahi from behind. Rough, urgent, wrong hands. Not Daddy's hands. Stranger hands in heavy gloves, attached to arms in firefighter gear. No, my daddy's still inside. Let me go. But they didn't. They pulled him backward, even as he kicked and screamed and fought with every ounce of strength in his small body. We've got you. Son, you're safe now. I don't want to be safe. I want my daddy. They carried him down 3 flights of stairs, out into summer evening air that tasted wrong, too clean after all that smoke. Seoul's traffic sounds seemed too normal, too ordinary, like the world didn't understand that everything had just ended. Neighbors crowded the sidewalk. Mrs. Kim from 4B crying into her phone. Mr. Park from 4D holding his daughter. Everyone staring up at the building like watching would change anything. The firefighter set Jahi on the curb. Stay right here. We're going to get your father. Jahi nodded. Couldn't speak. Throat raw from screaming and smoke. He watched the building. Watched firefighters run in. Watched smoke pour from the 3rd floor windows. Thick and black and hungry. Waited for Daddy to walk out. Any second now. Any second. Daddy would come out with his medical bag. Soot on his face. Coughing but alive. He'd scoop Jahi up and say, "See? I'm fine. Takes more than a little fire to stop Dr. Ezekiel Campbell. And they'd go stay with Uncle Taiwo tonight, and everything would be okay. Any second. Any." The smoke got thicker. Flames visible now through the windows. The heat made the air shimmer even from across the street. Jahi's eyes burned. He rubbed them. They burned worse. Like something was crawling under his eyelids. Scratching. Clawing. He rubbed harder. "Don't touch your face!" A paramedic dropped to her knees in front of him, pulled his hands away from his eyes. Her gloves smelled like latex and hand sanitizer. "Your hands have ash and chemicals on them. We need to flush your eyes. This might be cold." Water poured over his face from a bottle. It helped, for about 10 seconds. Then the burning got worse. Deeper, like the fire had gotten inside his eyes and was burning from the inside out. Jahi whimpered, tried not to cry because crying would make it hurt more, but the tears came anyway. His eyes are severely irritated. The paramedic called over her shoulder. "Possible corneal damage, chemical exposure, heat trauma. We need to get him to a hospital now." "What about my daddy?" Jahi's voice came out broken. Small. Scared. The paramedic's face did something complicated. Sad and professional at the same time. "The firefighters are doing everything they can." Everything they can. Jahi knew what that meant. Had heard it on TV shows. Adults only said everything they can when everything wasn't enough. When people were already gone. No, the word barely made it past his throat. "No, he's coming. He promised. He promised he'd teach me heart surgery tomorrow. He promised." The ambulance arrived. Sirens too loud, lights too bright, even through his damaged eyes. They loaded him in. The paramedic stayed with him, checking his eyes with a small light that made him cry out in pain. Through the open ambulance doors, Jahi watched his building burn, watched firefighters emerge carrying a stretcher, watched them cover it with a yellow tarp. Yellow tarps meant dead. He'd seen enough TV to know that. "No!" The scream ripped from his chest. "That's my daddy. He's not dead. He promised. He promised." The paramedic tried to hold him as he thrashed. "Honey, I'm so sorry. He promised." They closed the ambulance doors, shut out the building, the fire, the yellow tarp, the world. Jahi's last image before the doors blocked everything. His home burning, his father gone. his whole life turning to ash and smoke, and promises broken. The ambulance lurched forward, siren wailing. Sol's lights blurred past the windows. Jahi blinked. The lights blurred more. Blinked again. The world got fuzzy, grey around the edges, like looking through dirty water. Blinked, greyer. Blinked, black. I can't see. His voice so small the paramedic had to lean close to hear. Why can't I see? Make it stop. Please make it stop. Her hand found his, warm and alive, and not Daddy's hand. We're almost at the hospital, sweetheart. They're going to help you. But Jahi knew, with the certainty that sometimes comes to children in moments of devastating clarity, that some things couldn't be helped. Some things were just broken forever. The darkness pressed in, and somewhere in that darkness, his last thought before shock took over. I'm sorry, Daddy. I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. Chapter 2. Waking to darkness. Beeping woke him. Steady, rhythmic, mechanical. A heart monitor, maybe. Jahi had seen enough medical shows with Daddy to recognize the sound. He tried to open his eyes. Couldn't. Bandages wrapped around his head. Thick, soft, covering everything from eyebrows to temples. His hands were wrapped too. Gauze and tape. When he tried to move his fingers, pain lanced through his palms. Burns, right. He'd tried to pat out the fire. Memory crashed back like a wave. Match. Fire. Daddy. Yellow tarp. No, he whimpered. Voice hoarse. Throat raw. No, no, no. He's awake. A woman's voice. Gentle. Close. Jahi? Can you hear me, sweetheart? He didn't want to hear. Didn't want to be awake. Wanted to go back to before. Before the match. Before the fire. Before everything ended. Where's my daddy? The words scraped out. Silence. The bad kind. The kind that answered the question without words. Let me get the doctor. Footsteps hurrying away. Jahi lay very still. Counted heartbeats. His own, the monitor's echo. They didn't match. His was too fast. Racing. Panicking. More footsteps. Multiple people this time. Jahi, my name is Dr. Park. A man's voice. Kind but clinical. Professional sympathy. You're at Seoul Medical Center. You were in a fire 2 days ago. Do you remember? 2 days? He'd been asleep for 2 days? I want my daddy. I know you do, son. The bed dipped slightly. Someone sitting on the edge. But first we need to check your injuries. I'm going to examine your eyes now. I need to remove the bandages. It won't hurt, but it might feel strange. Jahi didn't care about his eyes. Didn't care about anything except the question no one would answer. But he held still while gentle hands unwound the gauze. Layer after layer. The room was bright. He could tell even through closed lids. Fluorescent lights humming overhead. Daytime. Morning, probably. Based on the breakfast cart sounds in the hallway. Okay, Jahi. I need you to try opening your eyes. Slowly. Just a little. He opened them. Grey. Not dark, not black. Just grey. Like looking through fog. Except the fog was inside his eyes instead of outside. Shapes without definition. Light without detail. The world reduced to shadows and vague outlines. He blinked. Tried to focus. The grey shifted but didn't clear. Can you see my hand? Dr. Park's voice. I'm holding up fingers. Can you tell me how many? Jahi squinted at where the voice came from. Saw a dark shape. Movement. No fingers. No hand. Just blur. I can't see it. That's all right. Your eyes are very swollen. Let's try. Rustling paper. Can you see this chart on the wall? Jahi turned his head toward the sound. Saw lighter grey rectangle. No letters. No details. I can't see anything. Panic crept into his voice. It's all fuzzy. Everything's wrong. I know it's frightening. Dr. Park's hand on his shoulder. Warm through the thin hospital gown. The fire caused damage to your corneas. That's the clear part at the front of your eyes. And the heat and chemicals affected your retinas. The part that sends images to your brain. Big words. Daddy had taught him some of them. Cornea. Retina. Parts of the eye. But Daddy had never mentioned what happened when they stopped working. Will it get better? Even as he asked, something in his chest knew the answer. Dr. Park's pause lasted 3 heartbeats too long. We've done everything we can. Sometimes healing surprises us, especially in children. But Jahi, The hand on his shoulder squeezed gently. The damage is very extensive. Your vision likely won't return to normal. Normal. What a strange word. What does that mean? Jahi needed him to say it. Needed the actual words. It means you'll probably be blind, son. I'm very sorry. The world ended. Not all at once like the fire. Slowly. Like water draining from a tub. Everything good and bright and possible spiraling away. He'd never see Daddy's face again. Except Daddy was dead, so that didn't matter. He'd never see anything again. Books, colors, his own hands, the way sunlight looked through leaves, Mummy's picture on Daddy's desk. All of it. Gone. I want my daddy. The words kept coming like if he said them enough times, they'd make it true. Make Daddy walk through the door and fix everything. Please. Where is he? I need him. Jahi. Dr. Park's voice went softer, sadder. Your father didn't survive the fire. The smoke and heat damage was too severe. I'm so sorry. He died trying to save his research. Died trying to save his research. Not trying to save himself. Trying to save papers. Because Jahi had set them on fire. Because Jahi had been stupid and careless, and now Daddy was dead and he was blind and nothing would ever be okay again. The scream built in his chest came out raw and broken and endless. No, he can't be dead. He promised. We were going to learn heart surgery. He promised. I know. Sweetheart, it's my fault. The confession tore out of him. I lit the match. I started the fire. I killed him. You're 4 years old. I killed my daddy. He thrashed, tried to claw the bandages off his hands. Nurses rushed in. Too many hands holding him down. Voices saying soothing things that meant nothing. A pinch in his arm. Sharp, quick. Medicine flooding his system, making the world soft and distant. The screaming faded to whimpers. Whimpers to silence. Darkness. Real darkness now. Not grey. Pulled him under. His last conscious thought. Mummy died bringing me here. Daddy died getting me out. I destroy everything I touch. When consciousness returned, hours later, days, the world was quieter. Jahi lay still, listening. Voices outside his room, adults trying to whisper but not quite succeeding. The boy has no other family. A woman, official sounding. Social worker maybe. Father was Jamaican. Mother as well. Extended family is in Jamaica. We're trying to reach them. A man's voice. Hospital administrator? His mother. Dr. Althea Campbell. Died in childbirth. No siblings. Father was an only child. What about the father's siblings? The social worker again. Half siblings, technically. Different mother. They're coming tomorrow to discuss arrangements. Arrangements. That meant where he'd go. Who'd take him. Please, Jahi thought. Please let them be nice. Please let them want me. He had nothing else now. No parents. No home. No eyes that worked. Just himself. Please let that be enough. They came the next morning. Jahi knew it was morning by the breakfast smells from the hallway and the shift change. New nurses with different perfumes. Uncle Winston and Aunt Patricia. He remembered them from Daddy's birthday party last year. They'd brought a cake shaped like a heart because Daddy was a heart surgeon, and everyone thought that was clever. They'd smiled and seemed okay, and Jahi had liked them fine. Hello, Jahi. Aunt Patricia's voice. Cold now. No warmth like at the birthday party. How are you feeling? My eyes hurt. His voice came out smaller than he wanted. And I can't see anymore. Yes. Well, she cleared her throat. The fire. She said it like an accusation. The doctors told us you lit the match. That you started it. Uncle Winston. His voice flat, factual, sharp as broken glass. Is that true? Jahi's throat closed. It was an accident. I didn't mean, but you did it. I was trying to help. You killed your father. Uncle Winston said it the way someone might say, you forgot to close the door. Matter of fact. Undeniable. Cruel. Your mother died bringing you into this world. Now your father's gone getting you out of a fire you started. Do you know what that makes you? Jahi shook his head. Couldn't speak. Cursed. You're cursed, boy. The word landed like a physical blow. Cursed. Winston. Aunt Patricia, but her tone suggested she agreed. Just thought he shouldn't say it out loud. We can't take him. Uncle Winston said it to someone else in the room. The social worker, probably. We have our own children to consider. 3 of them. And a blind child, that's a tremendous responsibility. A burden we're not equipped to handle. Burden. There was that word. He's your nephew, the social worker said, sounding shocked. Your brother's only child. Half-brother, Uncle Winston corrected. Different mothers. We weren't close. And Ezekiel made his choices. This boy is the consequence of those choices. Being reckless, keeping chemicals in the house, teaching a 4-year-old to play with matches. He didn't teach me to play. Jahi tried. The fact remains, blind, orphaned, traumatized. Who's going to care for a child like that? We can't. We simply can't. Jahi pulled the thin hospital blanket over his head, made himself as small as possible, tried to disappear, cursed. Burden. Who's going to care for a child like that? The words burrowed into his brain like parasites, laid eggs that would hatch into years of believing he was too broken to love. There is someone. New voice. Deep, warm, familiar. Jahi peeked out from under the blanket, even though peeking meant nothing now. Just grey shapes and shadows. Dr. Taiwo Adeyemi? The social worker sounded surprised. You're requesting emergency custody? I am. On what grounds? Are you family? I was Dr. Ezekiel Campbell's closest friend. His brother in every way that matters. The voice moved closer. Jahi smelled coffee, dark roast, and peppermint. Uncle Taiwo always smelled like coffee and peppermint. I made him a promise the day Jahi was born. A blood oath, he called it. If anything ever happened to him or Althea, I'd protect their son. I intend to keep it. You're unmarried, working full-time as a surgeon, 60-hour weeks minimum. I have a stable income, a home, references from every major hospital in Seoul. I've known this boy since he was born, held him minutes after he came into this world. Taiwo's voice hardened like steel. And I have something these people clearly lack, the basic human decency to not call a traumatized child cursed. Uncle Winston sputtered. We're being realistic. You're being cruel. Get out. Excuse me? You heard me. Get out of this room, out of this hospital, out of this boy's life. You don't get to call him a burden and then stick around to watch him suffer. Out, now. Footsteps. Angry muttering. Aunt Patricia hissing something about ungrateful, and we were doing him a favor by considering it. The door closed. Blessed silence. Then the bed dipped. Someone sitting on the edge. The coffee peppermint smell stronger now. Jahi, can I sit with you? He nodded, then remembered. Yes, please. A warm hand found his, held it gently, like he was something precious instead of something cursed. Your dad was my best friend. We met in medical school. First day, first class. He sat next to me and said, "You look like you know what you're doing. Want to study together?" Taiwo's thumb rubbed circles on Jahi's small hand. We were inseparable after that. Built our practices together. He was the best surgeon I've ever known. Best man, too. Uncle Winston said I killed him. Uncle Winston is an idiot who wouldn't know compassion if it performed surgery on him. Taiwo's voice went gentle. You didn't kill your father. Jahi, the fire did. You're 4 years old. 4-year-olds make mistakes. That's what being 4 means. Mistakes and learning, not murder. But I lit the match. And your father made the choice to go back for his research instead of running straight out. Adults make choices. You made a mistake. There's a difference. Jahi wanted to believe him. Wanted it so badly his chest ached. Will you really take care of me? If you'll let me. Even though I'm blind now. Being blind doesn't make you less, Jahi. It makes you different. And different can be extraordinary. Taiwo squeezed his hand. Your dad used to talk about you constantly. My son learned this. My son figured out that. He was convinced you'd be the best surgeon Seoul ever saw. Better than both of us combined. I believed him then. I believe him now. How can I be a surgeon if I can't see? We'll figure it out. Together. One day at a time. Pause. I can't replace your dad. I won't try. But I can try to honor him by raising you the way he would have. Deal? For the first time since waking in this horrible grey world, something like hope flickered in Jahi's chest. Small, fragile, barely there, but there. Deal, he whispered. Taiwo's hand stayed in his for a long time. and Jahi held on like it was the only solid thing left in the universe. Chapter 3. Uncle Taiwo. The courthouse smelled like old wood and furniture polish and other people's broken families. Jahi sat in a chair too big for him, feet dangling half a foot above the floor. The dark glasses Taiwo had gotten him pressed against his nose, heavy, unfamiliar, marking him as different, other. Some people get uncomfortable seeing eyes that don't look right, Taiwo had explained gently that morning while helping him dress. The glasses make it easier. Easier for them or for me. Both, I suppose. Jahi wore them anyway. Adding uncomfortable to people's reactions to him seemed like a bad idea when he was about to find out if he had a home or not. The judge's voice boomed from somewhere above and to the left. Big desk, probably. Position of authority. Dr. Adeyemi, you're requesting permanent custody of the minor child Jahi Campbell. Yes, Your Honor. Taiwo's voice. Steady, confident. You're unmarried. Working extensive hours at Seoul Medical Center. I'm a cardiac surgeon with a stable income, a 2-bedroom apartment in Mapo district, and impeccable references. I'm financially secure, emotionally prepared, and fully committed to this child's welfare. Taiwo's voice took on an edge. Professional but firm. Ezekiel Campbell was my brother in every way except biology. We built our medical careers together, saved lives together. When his wife Althea died in childbirth, I was there in the delivery room. I held Jahi when he was 10 minutes old. I made Ezekiel a promise. If anything ever happened to both parents, I would protect their son. The boy is blind. He'll require specialized care, resources. He'll require what every child requires: love, stability, and someone who sees his potential instead of his limitations. Steel entered Taiwo's voice. His biological family called him cursed, called him a burden. I call him brilliant. I call him family. I call him mine. Papers shuffled, the judge clearing his throat. Jahi held his breath, counted his own heartbeats. 1, 2, 3. Mr. Campbell? Miss Campbell? The judge addressing Uncle Winston and Aunt Patricia. You're willing to cede all parental rights and custody claims? Yes. Aunt Patricia. Quick. Eager. We believe Dr. Adeyemi is far better equipped for a child with special needs. Special needs. Polite words for, we don't want him. Very well. The gavel came down. Sharp crack that made Jahi jump. Custody is hereby awarded to Dr. Taiwo Adeyemi, effective immediately. All rights, privileges, and responsibilities transfer as of this moment. This court is adjourned. Just like that, Jahi had a new father, not a replacement, never that, but someone who chose him when everyone else walked away. Taiwo's hand found his shoulder. Warm, solid, real. Come on, son. Let's go home. Son. The word wrapped around Jahi like a blanket. The apartment was small. Jahi stood in the doorway while Taiwo described it. 2 bedrooms. Yours is the second door on the right. 1 bathroom between them. Kitchen straight ahead. Smells like coffee because I drink too much of it. Living room to your left with a couch and a TV you can't see, but can definitely hear. Everything described in relation to where Jahi stood, creating a mental map. Your room is simple. Bed on the left when you walk in. Dresser on the right. Window straight ahead facing east. I'll leave it open when weather permits. Morning sun, fresh air. You'll feel the breeze. Know which direction you're facing. They walked together, Taiwo's hand on his shoulder. Counting steps. 42 from the front door to the kitchen. Turn left at the cold spot where the AC vent blew. 16 more steps to the bathroom. In his new bedroom, Jahi stood in the center. The bed creaked when Taiwo sat on it, testing the mattress, making sound so Jahi could locate it. What do you think? It's nice. His voice came out small. Thank you. You don't have to thank me for basic human decency, Jahi. Uncle Winston said I should be grateful anyone would take me. Silence. The dangerous kind. Then, Uncle Winston can rot. You're not a charity case. You're a child who lost everything and deserves better than gratitude for being kept alive. Okay? Jahi nodded. I need to hear you say it. Okay. Good. The bed creaked as Taiwo stood. I'll let you settle in. Unpack. Your things are in the bag on the bed, mostly clothes the hospital provided. We'll get you proper things tomorrow. After Taiwo left, Jahi sat on the bed. His bed. In his room. In his new home. Without Daddy. The grief hit like a wave. Pulled him under. He curled onto his side, pressed his face into a pillow that smelled like detergent and strangers, and cried until his ribs ached. Tried to be quiet about it. Failed spectacularly. Footsteps in the hall. The door opening. The bed dipping. It's okay to cry, Taiwo said softly. Not touching. Just present. I'm tired of crying. Then you don't have to. But he did anyway. Silently this time. Tears soaking the pillow. Taiwo sat on the floor beside the bed. Didn't try to hug or comfort. Just stayed there. Breathing. Alive. Proof that Jahi wasn't completely alone. Eventually the tears stopped. Eventually exhaustion won. Eventually Jahi slept. And when the nightmares came, fire and falling beams and Daddy's face disappearing behind smoke, Taiwo was there. You're safe. I'm here. You're not in the fire. You're in your bedroom in Mapo district. Feel the mattress? That's your bed. Smell the coffee from the kitchen? That's home. Hear the traffic outside? That's Seoul. You're safe. The routine continued every night. Nightmares. Screaming. Taiwo. Listing sensory details until Jahi's breathing slowed. Can you stay? Of course. Taiwo would settle on the floor beside the bed. Stay until Jahi fell back asleep. Never complained. Never made Jahi feel like a burden. Just stayed. Week after week. Until the nightmares came less frequently. Until Jahi started believing he might actually survive this. 3 months after moving in, Jahi still couldn't navigate the apartment without his cane. He'd misjudge doorways, walk into furniture, crack his shins on the coffee table so many times Taiwo started calling him Bruise Factory. It wasn't funny. I hate this. Jahi threw his cane across the living room. It clattered against the wall. I hate being blind. I hate not knowing where anything is. I hate. His voice broke. He hated everything. Hated the grey world. Hated fumbling and stumbling. Hated being helpless and broken and useless. Taiwo's footsteps approached. The cane picked up, brought back. Then we practice until you do know where everything is. That's impossible. Is it? How many steps from your bedroom door to the kitchen? I don't know. Then let's count. Come on. They counted together. Taiwo's patient voice. Jahi's reluctant steps. 42 steps from bedroom to kitchen. Turn left at the cold spot from the AC vent. The one that blew year-round because the building's climate control was broken. 16 more steps to the kitchen counter. Again, Taiwo said. They did it again, and again, and again, until Jahi could walk it without counting out loud. Then the bathroom, front door, couch, TV, every landmark in the small apartment. It's like building a map in your head, Taiwo explained. You're drawing it with steps and smells and sounds, instead of sight. Different tools. Same goal. Different. That word kept coming up, but slowly. So slowly Jahi barely noticed. It started meaning less terrible and more just reality. This was his life now. Different, but his. The Braille books arrived in the mail. Taiwo carried the heavy box inside, set it on the kitchen table with a thud that made the dishes rattle. What is it? Jahi asked from the couch. Your future. Come see. I can't see. Come feel then. Stop being pedantic. Despite everything, Jahi smiled. Taiwo had started doing that, refusing to tiptoe around words like see and look and watch, treating blindness like a fact instead of a tragedy. It helped, sometimes. Jahi approached the table, found the box by touch, cardboard rough under his fingers. He opened it. Inside, books. Dozens of them. Pages covered in raised dots that meant nothing to him. What are these? Braille primers. You're going to learn to read again. Jahi's throat closed. I can't. You can. It's just a different alphabet. Dots instead of letters. But it's reading. Same concept. It's not the same. You want to be a surgeon like your dad? The question stopped Jahi cold. Yes. Then you need to read medical textbooks. They come in Braille. So you learn Braille. Simple. It wasn't simple. It was horrible. The dots made no sense. The patterns seemed random. His fingers fumbled over pages, understanding nothing, hating everything. 2 weeks in, he threw the book across the room. It hit the wall with a satisfying thud. This is stupid. They're just dots. They don't mean anything. Taiwo picked up the book, brought it back, sat beside Jahi on the couch. Your father didn't quit when surgery got hard. This isn't surgery. He practiced until his hands bled. Literally. I saw it. He'd suture pig hearts for hours, until he got every stitch perfect. Taiwo set the book in Jahi's lap. You're his son. You've got the same stubborn determination, the same refusal to accept failure. So we practice, until it clicks. Jahi wanted to argue, but Daddy hadn't raised a quitter. Fine, they practiced. Every evening after Taiwo got home from the hospital, an hour minimum, sometimes 2. The dots stayed meaningless, until one day, 3 weeks in, something shifted. Jahi's fingers flew across the page and suddenly, impossibly, the dots made sense, formed words, formed sentences. The human heart has 4 chambers, he read aloud. The right atrium receives deoxygenated blood from the body. Uncle Taiwo, I'm reading. The dots make sense. I'm actually reading. He looked up, or where he thought up was, grinning so wide his face hurt. Taiwo said nothing. Jahi heard it anyway. The sharp inhale, the shaky exhale, the sound of someone trying very hard not to cry. Uncle Taiwo? Your dad would be so proud. Taiwo's voice came out thick. I wish he could see this. Are you crying? Yes. Why? Because I'm proud. So proud I can barely breathe. Jahi's grin got impossibly wider. Can I keep reading? Please do. He read until his fingers went numb. Read until Taiwo had to gently take the book away and send him to bed. Read in his dreams. For the first time since the fire, Jahi felt something close to hope. Maybe he could do this. Maybe different didn't mean less. Maybe, just maybe, he could still become who Daddy wanted him to be. Chapter 4. Learning to see without eyes. Dinner was burning. Again. Jahi smelled it from his bedroom, where he was reading. Chicken scorching in the pan. Rice sticking to the pot. The particular acrid note that meant Taiwo had gotten distracted and forgotten to stir. He was supposed to be reading his history textbook, had homework due tomorrow. But the burning smell pulled him to the kitchen like a magnet. Taiwo stood at the stove, spatula in hand, staring at the pan like willpower alone could unburn the chicken. Uncle Taiwo, you're burning dinner again, his uncle groaned. How do you even know? You're in your room. I can smell it. The rice is sticking to the bottom of the pot, and the chicken's been on too high heat for too long. Proteins are breaking down wrong. Taiwo checked both. Rice definitely sticking. Chicken definitely overdone. Okay, that's witchcraft. It's just a tension. Jahi appeared in the kitchen doorway, cane tapping. 5 years old now. Taller than last year, but still small enough that the counter came up to his chest. Can I try? Try what? Cooking. Dad taught me some things, before. The word fire hung unspoken between them. Taiwo hesitated. Fire and Jahi had catastrophic history, but the boy needed to not be afraid forever. Okay, but I'm right here, and we use timers, and you tell me every step before you do it. I'll be careful, promise. They cooked together. Taiwo described what he saw. Jahi worked by touch and smell and something that seemed almost like instinct. You're using too much water in the rice, Jahi announced after sniffing the pot. The recipe says 2 cups. The recipe's wrong, or our pot's different. There's too much water for this amount of rice. Taiwo checked. Jahi was right. They drained some. Tried again. Perfect. How did you know? Jahi shrugged, small shoulders moving under his too big shirt. I can hear it. The way the water moves around the rice. It sounds wrong when there's too much. By the time they finished, the kitchen smelled amazing. The food tasted better than anything Taiwo had managed in months. This is incredible, Taiwo said, around a mouthful of perfectly cooked rice. You're 5. How are you better at this than me? You don't listen to the food. Listen to it. Everything makes sounds. Water evaporating sounds different than water boiling. Rice sticking sounds different than rice steaming. You just have to pay attention. Taiwo stared at this small blind child who could hear water evaporate, saw Ezekiel in the tilt of his head, saw Althea in the careful precision of his movements. Your parents would be amazed by you. You think so? I know so. Cooking became their weekend ritual after that. Taiwo would buy ingredients. Jahi would prepare them. Together, they'd create meals that actually tasted good, instead of Taiwo's usual, barely edible. And slowly, week by week, Jahi stopped flinching every time someone struck a match. The Seoul School for the Visually Impaired smelled like possibility and chalk dust and other children who understood darkness. Teacher Seo greeted them in the lobby. Jahi had just turned 5, old enough for formal schooling, Taiwo said. Time to be around other kids. You must be Jahi. Her voice was warm, kind. She crouched down to his level. I'm so happy you're joining our class. Will they like me? Jahi whispered to Taiwo. They'd be fools not to. Teacher Seo led him to a desk. 3rd row, middle seat. Introduced him to the other students. They all had stories. Car accidents. Illnesses. Born this way. But they all shared the darkness. For the first time since the fire, Jahi wasn't the only one. It felt like breathing after drowning. Today we're practicing basic Braille reading, Teacher Seo announced. Everyone take out your primer books. Jahi had finished the primer book 2 months ago, had moved on to chapter books, was currently reading a mystery novel about a detective that Taiwo had found at a bookstore. But he didn't say anything. Didn't want to show off on his first day. He opened his book, started reading at the appropriate pace. Teacher Seo noticed anyway. She always did. Jahi, you're reading very quickly. Have you seen this book before? Seen. Wrong word. But Jahi understood. Yes, ma'am. At home. The whole thing? Yes, ma'am. Pause. He heard her flipping through pages, checking. This is 2nd year material. I like reading. After class, she pulled him aside. Jahi, I'm going to give you more advanced books. The primer level is too easy for you. Okay. She brought him 3rd year textbooks. He finished them in a week. 4th year textbooks. 2 weeks. By the time he turned 6, they'd moved him up 4 grade levels. He sat in classes with 10-year-olds, working on mathematics that made his brain hurt in the best way. But he had no friends. Kids his age thought he was weird. Kids in his advanced classes thought he was too young. He ate lunch alone at a table in the corner. Played alone during recess, though playing was generous. Mostly he sat and listened to other kids play. Went home alone. Taiwo noticed. Make any friends today? No. Why not? Jahi shrugged. Poked at his dinner. I'm different from the 5-year-olds. And the 10-year-olds don't want to hang out with a baby. You're not a baby. They think I am. Taiwo set down his fork. People fear what they don't understand. And you, Jahi, are extraordinary. That scares people. I don't want to be scary. I want to be normal. Normal is overrated. Extraordinary changes the world. Can I change the world later, after I have friends? Taiwo laughed, pulled him close. Tell you what, this weekend, we'll go to the park, find some kids. You can practice being normal. You think that'll work? Probably not. But we'll try anyway. It didn't work. Jahi tried playing tag. Ran into a tree because he couldn't see it. The other kids laughed. Not mean, just surprised. But Jahi felt his face burn with shame anyway. Tried hide and seek. Hid so well no one found him. Turned out they'd stopped looking after 5 minutes. Started a new game without him. Maybe I'm meant to be alone, he said to Taiwo on the walk home. You're 5. You're not meant to be anything yet except 5. That doesn't make sense. Welcome to life. Nothing makes sense. We just do our best anyway. The apartment stopped needing the cane when Jahi turned 6. It happened gradually, him forgetting the cane more and more, walking from bedroom to kitchen and back without it, until one day Taiwo came home from work and found Jahi making tea. No cane in sight. Jahi, where's? Don't need it anymore. Not in here. What do you mean? I know where everything is. Jahi moved smoothly between counter and stove. No hesitation. No fumbling. Like he could see. 42 steps from my room to here. Left at the AC vent. Counter's right here. Stove's 3 steps forward. Fridge is 8 steps at. He pointed. That direction. Taiwo's jaw dropped. How long have you been practicing this? Since we moved in. I count everything. Steps. Turns. Landmarks. Now I just... No. It's in my head like a map. You're 6 years old and you've built a cognitive map of our entire apartment? Is that weird? It's extraordinary. There it was again. That word. But this time, Jahi smiled. Because Taiwo said it like it was good. Dr. Makinde visited the next week. Taiwo wanted him to see. Watch this, Taiwo said. Watch what? Just watch. He asked Jahi to walk from his bedroom to the kitchen. Jahi did. No cane. No hesitation. Perfect navigation. Makinde's coffee cup froze halfway to his mouth. Is he? Yes. But he can't. No. He can't. Then how? Ask him. Jahi made tea for all of them. Brought 3 cups to the living room. Set them down in front of each person without spilling a drop. Makinde stared like he'd witnessed a miracle. Jahi, how did you know where we were sitting? Uncle Taiwo always sits in the left chair. It's closer to his coffee table. You're his guest, so you're in the right chair. I'm on the couch. But how did you know I was here at all? I heard the door, smelled your cologne, same one you always wear. Your footsteps are heavier than Uncle Taiwo's. You walk more on your heels. Makinde looked at Taiwo. This is, I know. Does he always? Yes. My God. After Makinde left, Jahi asked the question he'd been holding. Do I scare people? Taiwo considered lying, decided against it. Sometimes. But only because they don't understand how you do what you do. Is there something wrong with me? The opposite. You're adapting in ways most people can't imagine. Your brain is compensating for vision loss by enhancing everything else. It's not wrong. It's remarkable. Will anyone ever just think I'm normal? Your dad would have thought you were perfect. He thought I'd be a surgeon. You still can be. How? I can't see. You see better than most people, just differently. Taiwo pulled him close. Want to know a secret? What? I think you're going to change everything. The way medicine works. The way we understand disability. Everything. That sounds hard. The best things usually are. Jahi turned 7 on a rainy Tuesday. Taiwo made pancakes, burned them, per usual, and they sang happy birthday off key. And it was nothing like birthdays with Daddy, but it was something, and something was better than nothing. What do you want for your birthday? Taiwo asked. Jahi had been thinking about this for weeks. I want to come to the hospital with you. We've talked about this. I know, but I'm older now. I can sit quietly. I won't be in the way. I just want to. He struggled for words. I want to hear what Daddy did. What you do, please. Taiwo was quiet for long enough that Jahi thought the answer was no. Then, okay. Observation only. You stay in the gallery behind the glass. And if you get bored or tired, you tell me immediately. Jahi threw his arms around Taiwo's waist. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're going to find it incredibly boring. I won't. I promise. He didn't. The first surgery Jahi observed, a routine valve replacement, was the most beautiful thing he'd experienced since losing his sight. The sounds painted pictures his eyes couldn't. The steady beep of monitors, the precise click of instruments, Taiwo's calm voice directing the team, the suction hiss, the rhythmic breathing of a body kept alive by machines. It was a symphony, and Jahi understood, finally, why his father had loved this, why Taiwo loved this, why he would love this too. What did you think? Taiwo asked afterward. I want to do that. Exactly that. I want to be a surgeon. Jahi, I know it's hard. I know people will say I can't. But I don't care. I want to do what Daddy did. What you do. Taiwo saw the determination in his son's face, saw Ezekiel's ghost in that stubborn set of his jaw. Then we start preparing now. You'll need advanced sciences. Biology, chemistry, anatomy. I'm ready. You're 7. Daddy started teaching me at 4. I'm behind. Taiwo laughed despite himself. Okay, we'll start this weekend. Can I come back to the hospital? Watch more surgeries. We'll make it a regular thing. Jahi grinned. For the first time in 3 years, his future looked bright. Different than he'd imagined, but bright anyway. Chapter 5. The Prodigy Emerges. The principal's office smelled like old paper and regret. Jahi sat in the too big chair, feet swinging above the floor. 8 years old now, taller but still small. still drowning in a world built for people who could see. Taiwo sat beside him, radiating tension. I don't understand the problem, Taiwo said. His grades are excellent. Principal Han shuffled papers. That's precisely the problem. He's 8 years old, working at a level we typically see in 13-year-olds. Mathematics, science, reading comprehension. He's exceeded every student in his age group and is now surpassing students 5 years older. So he's gifted. That's a problem? It's unusual. Concerning even. Concerning that a blind child is succeeding. Concerning that we don't have the resources to properly educate him. Principal Han leaned forward. Jahi smelled coffee on his breath. He needs to be moved up again, to classes with older students. Jahi's stomach dropped. No, he said quietly. Both adults looked at him. No? Principal Han repeated. I don't want to move up again. Please. Jahi, you're bored in your current classes. I don't care. I want friends my age. I want to eat lunch with people who don't think I'm weird. His voice cracked. I want to just be a kid sometimes. Silence. Taiwo's hand found his shoulder. What do you want to do, son? Can I learn the hard stuff at home and go to regular school for everything else? You want to be in 2 different educational tracks. I want to learn without being lonely all the time. Taiwo's chest ached. We can arrange that. They worked out a compromise. Regular school 3 days a week with age-appropriate peers. Specialized tutoring at home 2 days a week for advanced subjects. It wasn't perfect, but it helped. Jahi made one friend that year. Min Jun. Another blind student who didn't care that Jahi was smart. Just cared that he was funny and shared his lunch and helped him find his dropped cane. It was enough. Chapter 6. The Hospital Request. Jahi turned 10 on a Wednesday. Double digits. Taiwo made a big deal of it. Cake from the expensive bakery. Presents wrapped in crinkly paper that Jahi could hear from across the room. Make a wish, Taiwo said. Jahi leaned toward the cake, smelled vanilla and strawberries, felt the heat from 10 candles on his face. He wished for the same thing he'd wished for since he was 7. I want to be a surgeon, like Daddy. Please. Blew out the candles. Did you wish for something good? Taiwo asked. Can't tell you, or it won't come true. Smart kid. They ate cake. Opened presents. Jahi got braille books. Advanced medical texts that Taiwo had special ordered. Got new clothes that actually fit. Got a watch that spoke the time when he pressed a button. Everything was perfect. Almost Uncle Taiwo. Can I ask for one more thing? Already did presents, kiddo. I know, but this is important. Jahi took a breath. Can I come to the hospital with you? Not just to observe, to help, to be in the room. Taiwo set down his fork. Jahi, I've been watching for 3 years. I know your instrument patterns. I know surgical rhythms. I can help. Really help. You're 10. Age doesn't determine ability. You taught me that. Taiwo had taught him that. And now it was being used against him. There are protocols, sterile environments, liability issues. Get an exception, please. Jahi's hands gripped the table. I know I can do this. I feel it. Like how I know when rice is done or when you're about to cough before you do. I just know. Please let me try. Taiwo studied his son's face, saw determination, saw Ezekiel's ghost, saw a future that terrified and amazed him in equal measure. One condition. Anything. You make Jamaican rice and peppered turkey this weekend. The real recipe. Your dad's version. Jahi grinned. That's blackmail. I learned from the best negotiator I know. Deal. They shook on it. Tomorrow, Taiwo said. Appendectomy. Simple procedure. 3 p.m. Don't be late. I'm never late. That night, Jahi barely slept. Tomorrow, he'd step into an operating room. Like his father had. Like he was meant to. Chapter 7. Behind the glass. The observation gallery became Jahi's temple. Every day after school, straight to St. Mercy General Hospital. Security guards knew him by name now. Nurses smiled when he passed. He'd become part of the landscape. Up to the 3rd floor. Observation theatre, above OR3. His spot by the glass. Today, coronary bypass. 5 hours minimum. Complex but routine for Taiwo's skill level. Jahi stood at the glass, world grey and meaningless to his eyes. but his ears painted pictures no sighted person could see. The surgery began, scalpel whisper-soft against skin. He could hear the pressure change, the way tissue separated, retractors clicking into place, metal on metal, specific angles, the saw cutting through sternum, that sound used to make him flinch. Now he understood it was necessary. Opening the cage to reach the heart-lung machine taking over. That was his favorite sound, rhythmic whooshing that meant life continuing despite all odds. He counted instrument passes, 23 before the first clamp, timed each phase. Incision to first clamp, 4 minutes, 32 seconds. He whispered to himself, "You're timing us?" Nurse Yuna had appeared beside him. She always did eventually. "Sorry, is that bad?" "It's impressive. Medical students don't usually think to track surgical timing until their second year. I like patterns. Surgery is all patterns." "It is." She watched him listen with complete focus. "Your legs are going to hurt. This is a long one. It's part of my practice." "For what?" "Being like my dad." Her expression softened. "He'd be so proud of you." "Did you know him?" "I assisted on some of his surgeries before." She didn't finish. "Didn't need to." "Was he good?" "The best I ever worked with." "Until Dr. Adeyemi. They were equals, really." Jahi filed that information away. More proof that Daddy had been extraordinary. The surgery continued. Jahi catalogued everything. The suction removing blood. His pattern changed depending on blood viscosity. The cauterizer sealing vessels. Electric buzz. Smell of burning tissue that used to make him sick, but now just meant hemostasis. The careful, precise movements of a master surgeon saving a life. By hour 3, his legs did hurt. He ignored it. By hour 4, he was mouthing the names of instruments seconds before Taiwo asked for them. By hour 5, he'd memorized every phase of this surgery, added it to his mental database. 247 surgeries observed, 12 different procedure types, endless variations. When it finished, patient stable, being wheeled to recovery, Jahi found Taiwo in the scrub room. "I want to be in there." Taiwo paused, washing his hands. "In the OR?" "Yes. I've been observing for 3 years. I know your patterns. I can help." "Jahi, there are protocols." "I know. Sterile environment, liability, insurance. I've researched all of it." He stepped closer. "But I can do this. I know I can. Please give me a chance." Taiwo dried his hands, studied this determined boy who asked for the impossible like it was reasonable. "Tomorrow, minor procedure, appendectomy, 3 p.m. "Really?" "Really. But if you mess up, I won't. If you do, you're out. Understood?" "Understood." Jahi couldn't stop smiling the whole way home. Chapter 8. First hands in surgery. The surgical gown was enormous. Jahi stood on a step stool beside the operating table, fabric pooling around his feet like he was playing dress-up in adult clothes. The surgical mask covered half his small face. Gloves made his hands feel disconnected, huge and clumsy and foreign, but his heart raced with purpose. This was it. Everything he'd worked for. Everything Daddy had wanted for him. "Rules," Taiwo said beside him, voice muffled by his own mask but firm. "Observe unless I specifically ask you to assist. Follow instructions exactly. No improvising, no assumptions. Clear?" "Clear." The patient was already under appendectomy, inflamed but not ruptured. Textbook simple. Perfect first case. Jahi catalogued smells. Anesthesia sweet from the patient's breath. Iodine sharp from the skin prep. Taiwo's familiar coffee and peppermint scent. The nervous sweat from the resident across the table. Dr. Choi, young, uncertain about a blind kid in his OR. "Scalpel," Taiwo said. Jahi's hand moved to the instrument tray. This was it. Everything came down to this moment. His fingers danced across the instruments, reading by touch the way he read Braille. Each tool had a shape, weight, purpose. Scalpel third from left should be there. He grabbed it, positioned handle first for Taiwo's right-hand grip. Passed it. Taiwo took it smoothly. Good. One word, but it meant everything. The surgery proceeded. Clamp. Jahi's fingers found it. Passed it. Perfect. Retractor. Perfect again. Suction. Perfect. He was doing it. Actually doing it. Then, forceps. Jahi reached. Felt two similar instruments. His fingers hesitated. Similar weight. Similar shape. Which one? He grabbed the left one. Wrong. Hemostatic, son. Other side. Heat flooded Jahi's face. He corrected immediately. Fingers memorizing the difference. Hemostatic forceps. Slightly wider grip. Weight distributed differently. Longer by maybe a centimeter. He'd remember now. Would never make that mistake again. The surgery continued. 7 perfect passes. Then he fumbled the suture needle. Grabbed 4-0 instead of 3-0. Too thin. Other one, Jahi. Another mistake. Then passed a clamp handle first when it should have been tip first. 3 mistakes. In 30 minutes. Might as well have been 300. When they closed, when the patient was wheeled away stable and recovering, Jahi felt like he'd failed everything. The scrub room was torture. You were incredible, Nurse Yuna said, helping him out of his gown. I made 3 mistakes. You're 10 years old, and you anticipated instruments before Dr. Adeyemi asked for them twice. That's extraordinary. It's not good enough. His voice came out thick. Daddy wouldn't have made mistakes. Your father didn't assist in surgery until medical school. You're doing this at 10. Jahi wanted to believe her. Couldn't. He sat in the break room, juice box untouched, replaying every mistake in excruciating detail. Taiwo found him 20 minutes later. Why the devastated face, surgeon? I'm not a surgeon. I messed up. 3 times out of 20 instrument passes. That's an 85% success rate on your first attempt. 15% failure rate. 85% success rate. Taiwo sat beside him. You want to know about your dad's first time? Jahi nodded. He dropped a sponge into the patient's abdominal cavity. They had to extend the surgery 40 minutes to find it. He came home and cried. Actually cried. Thought his career was over before it started. Jahi's head snapped up. Daddy cried? He was human. Brilliant, yes. Best surgeon I've ever known. But human. He made mistakes. He learned. He got better. Just like you will. Some of the shame loosened its grip on Jahi's chest. Can I try again tomorrow? Different procedure. You'll do better. How do you know? Because you're exactly like him. Stubborn. Brilliant. Unforgiving of your own mistakes. Which means you'll practice until you're perfect. Taiwo stood. But first, he tickled Jahi without warning. Jahi squirmed, surprised into laughter despite the shame. Uncle, stop. Not until you admit you did well. Stop. Okay. I did okay. Better than okay. Fine. I did well. Please stop. Taiwo released him, grinning. Jahi took off running down the hallway. Taiwo chased him with exaggerated effort, both of them laughing. Staff stepped aside, smiling. The blind boy and his surgeon uncle, playing tag in a hospital corridor, choosing joy despite everything. An elderly patient in a wheelchair watched them pass. Isn't that the blind boy? She asked her nurse. Yes, ma'am. Dr. Campbell's son. He moves like he can see. The nurse smiled. In some ways, he sees better than any of us. That evening, Taiwo's apartment smelled like home. Jahi cooked their celebration dinner. A deal was a deal. Jamaican rice and peppered turkey. His father's recipe. The one burned into his memory from Sunday mornings before the fire. He moved through the kitchen with surgical precision, sniffed each herb before adding it, tasted the sauce, adjusted by instinct. The turkey seasoned exactly right. His hands remembered even if his conscious mind didn't. Taiwo sat at the table, pretending to read the newspaper, actually watching Jahi. This boy who'd lost everything, mother, father, sight, childhood, was humming while he cooked, creating beauty from memory and adaptation, choosing to live instead of just survive. You're enjoying this too much over there, Taiwo called. Share the fun. He joined Jahi at the counter, started helping, intentionally passed the wrong spice jar. Uncle Taiwo, you're messing with me. That's not oregano. It's bicarbonate. Taiwo laughed until he coughed. The cough lasted longer than it should. Rougher. Wetter. Jahi's hands stilled. Uncle? I'm fine. Swallowed wrong. That's the 5th time today. I said I'm fine. But the taste of copper had hit the back of Taiwo's throat. The taste he'd been ignoring for 3 months. The taste that meant the cancer was winning. "Okay," Jahi said quietly, not believing him but letting it go. They cooked together, ate together, Jahi describing his favorite parts of the surgery, Taiwo correcting terminology but praising instincts. For a few hours, they were just family, uncle and nephew, guardian and ward, father and son in all the ways that mattered. But that night, after Jahi went to bed, Taiwo locked himself in the bathroom, coughed blood into the sink. More than yesterday, more than last week. The pills weren't working anymore. Stage 4 adenocarcinoma didn't care about pills. It just kept growing, spreading, winning. 6 months to a year, they'd said. That was 4 months ago. He looked in the mirror, gaunt, grey, dying. How long before Jahi noticed? The boy noticed everything. "Please," Taiwo prayed to whatever might listen. "Just a little more time. He needs me. Just a little more." He rinsed the blood away, hid the evidence, swallowed more pills that wouldn't work, checked on Jahi, found him sleeping peacefully. Braille medical textbook still open beside him, fingers resting on a page about cardiac surgery. Taiwo closed the book gently, pulled the blanket up, kissed his forehead. "Sleep well, son. Tomorrow we try again." And silently, where Jahi couldn't hear, "I'm sorry I won't be here to see how incredible you become. I'm sorry I'm going to leave you too. I'm so sorry." But he didn't say it out loud. Some truths were too heavy for 10-year-olds to carry, even extraordinary ones. Chapter 9. The University Hall. The invitation came in the mail on a Saturday. Taiwo opened it at breakfast, coffee cooling in his world's best surgeon mug, the one Jahi had given him years ago, to replace the one that burned in the fire. "What is it?" Jahi asked. He was reading a Braille textbook on cardiovascular physiology, advanced material for someone who'd just had his 11th birthday 2 weeks ago. Seoul University Medical School's annual alumni ceremony. "They're honoring the class of..." Taiwo paused. "The class your father and I graduated with." Jahi's fingers stilled on the page. "Are you going?" "I'm supposed to give a speech. Innovative approaches in emergency cardiac surgery." He sighed. "Want to come? Keep me company?" "Will there be other kids there?" "Probably not. Lots of boring doctor talk." "Sounds perfect." Taiwo smiled. His son hated crowds but loved medicine. It was a strange combination that somehow worked. The ceremony was exactly as boring as promised. Jahi sat in the lobby outside the main auditorium, waiting while Taiwo gave his speech inside. He'd brought his audiobook, Advanced Surgical Techniques, narrated by someone with a soothing British accent, and settled in. 40 minutes passed. The audiobook ended. Jahi was bored. Then he heard it. Voices down the hall. Lots of them. Discussion. Debate. The energy of learning crackling in the air like static electricity. His cane tapped a path toward the sound. Counting steps. 42 from the bench. Turn left at the water fountain. He could hear it running. Steady drip that needed maintenance. 18 more steps. Door opening under his hand. He thought it was a waiting room. It wasn't. With anomalous coronary artery presenting with interarterial course between the aorta and pulmonary artery. A professor's voice. Deep. Authoritative. Lecturing. "What's your surgical approach?" Jahi froze in the doorway. "Lecture hall. Full of people." "Oops." "Reimplantation of the anomalous artery," a student answered. Female. Confident. "Textbook response," the professor said. "But what if conventional approach fails intraoperatively? Patients on bypass, your mid-procedure, reimplantation site shows acute ischemia. What then?" Silence. Jahi knew this. He'd read about it in his father's notes. The Campbell modification. A technique his father had developed but never published. Taiwo had converted those notes to Braille 2 years ago. His hand went up before his brain caught up. "You in the back?" The room was big. Jahi could tell by the way sound echoed. At least 200 people based on the breathing patterns and subtle movements. His voice came out smaller than intended. He cleared his throat. Tried again. "Convert to unroofing technique with pericardial patch augmentation. Reduces tension on the anastomosis site. Improves tissue perfusion by approximately 40%. based on Dr. Yamada's 2019 study in the Journal of Thoracic and Cardiovascular Surgery. Dead silence. Like the entire room had stopped breathing. Then heads turning, he heard it. Fabric rustling, chairs creaking, 200 people swiveling to look at whoever just answered. At him. Small boy. Dark glasses. White cane. How old are you? The professor sounded stunned. 11, sir. I apologize for interrupting. I thought this was a waiting room. Scattered laughter. Surprised but not unkind. 11. The professor repeated it like testing the word. Where did you learn about the Yamada modification? I read the study, and my father had similar notes about a technique he developed. He called it the Campbell approach. Slightly different pericardial attachment angle, but same principle. Recognition dawned in the professor's voice. Campbell? Your father is Dr. Ezekiel Campbell. Was, sir. He passed away 7 years ago. The room's energy shifted. Sympathy mixing with curiosity, mixing with awe. You're citing complex surgical literature from memory. Yes, sir. Jahi gestured to his dark glasses. Can't exactly flip through textbooks during a discussion. More laughter. Warmer now. The professor's footsteps approached. Can you come down here, please? I'd like to talk to you properly. Jahi navigated the steps, counting under his breath. 12 steps down. His cane caught slightly on the last one. Carpet transitioned to tile, and he stumbled. A student caught his elbow. Careful. Thank you. Gasps rippled through the room. Students realizing he was blind. The professor met him at the front. What's your name? Jahi Campbell, sir. And you've studied your father's surgical notes. All of them. My guardian, Dr. Taiwo Adeyemi. He's speaking in the main hall right now. He had them converted to Braille for me. The professor's sharp intake of breath. Dr. Adeyemi is your guardian? Yes, sir. And you understand these techniques? The mechanics? The reasoning? I think so. I assist Dr. Adeyemi in surgery sometimes. Minor procedures. I pass instruments. Observe. Learn. You assist in surgery? Yes, sir. A medical student in the front row leaned forward. How do you pass instruments if you can't see them? I feel them. Learn their shapes, weights, purposes. It's not different from you finding your phone in your bag without looking. Just more practice. The room erupted in whispers. Then the door burst open. Jahi. Taiwo stopped. Took in the scene. His son at the front of a lecture hall. 200 medical students staring. A professor looking stunned. What's happening? Professor Han approached. Dr. Adeyemi, your son just explained advanced cardiac surgical technique to my fourth-year students, using unpublished research from Dr. Campbell's notes. Taiwo's face cycled through emotions. Surprise, pride, concern. He wandered off. I got curious, Jahi admitted. Thought I was going to the bathroom. Despite everything, Taiwo laughed. Of course you did. Professor Han stepped closer, lowering his voice. Dr. Adeyemi, those notes Jahi mentioned, the Campbell approach, if they're as innovative as his explanation suggests, they're not for sale. I'm not asking to buy them. I'm asking if you've considered publishing. Dr. Campbell's work could revolutionize emergency cardiac intervention. Taiwo's hand found Jahi's shoulder. Protective. That's for Jahi to decide. When he's old enough. When he's earned the right. I want to earn it, Jahi said quietly. I want to publish Dad's work someday. But I want to really understand it first. Not just memorize. Understand. Professor Han smiled. Spoken like a true surgeon. Walking out, Taiwo's grip on Jahi's shoulder was firm. You scared me half to death. Sorry. No, you're not. No, I'm not. Jahi grinned. But I impressed a room full of medical students. Yes, you did. Pride leaked through the exasperation. Your father would have loved that. He always enjoyed showing off too. Did I get it from him? Definitely. I'm far too humble for theatrics. Jahi laughed, real, bright, happy, and Taiwo wished desperately, not for the first time, that Ezekiel could see this, could see what his son was becoming. But then, maybe he could. Maybe somewhere, somehow, Ezekiel was watching, and smiling that smile that meant, I'm proud of you, son. Chapter 10. The Forbidden Wing. 1 year changed everything. Jahi was 12 now, taller, nearly came up to Taiwo's shoulder. voice starting to crack at odd moments. Body caught between child and teenager, awkward and uncertain, but in the operating room, he was confident. He assisted Taiwo 3 times a week now, sometimes 4, had progressed from simple appendectomies to more complex procedures. His mistake rate had dropped to nearly 0. The surgical staff had stopped questioning his presence, started relying on him. Dr. Campbell, they called him. Not officially, he was 12, for God's sake, but affectionately, a nickname that made him stand taller. St. Mercy General had become his second home. But there was one place he never went, the East Wing. It was off limits. Everyone knew it. Nobody talked about it. The wing existed in whispers and averted eyes, funded by anonymous money that paid for state-of-the-art equipment and staff who asked no questions. Taiwo's rule was absolute. Never go there. Ever. Why? Jahi had asked months ago. It's owned by someone dangerous. Who? Someone from my past I'd rather forget. Promise me, Jahi, no matter what. I promise, Uncle. He'd kept that promise for 8 months, until the screaming started. Dinner break. 6 p.m. on a Tuesday. Jahi sat in the hospital cafeteria, eating kimbap and listening to his audiobook through earbuds. Medical thriller. Entertaining even if the surgery descriptions were wildly inaccurate. Then a scream cut through his audio. He pulled out one earbud, listened. Another scream. Sharp. Pained. Desperate. From the direction of the East Wing, Jahi looked around, or would have if looking meant anything. He turned his head, listening to the cafeteria around him. Nobody reacted. Conversations continued. Utensils clinked. Someone laughed at a joke, like nobody heard it. Another scream. Weaker this time. Jahi stood, a hand clamped on his wrist. Nurse Yuna, we don't hear anything from that wing. Sit down. But someone's hurt, Jahi. Her voice dropped to urgent whisper. Sit down. You don't want to get involved in East Wing business. I can't just ignore. Yes, you can. You will. Because whatever's happening there is beyond your pay grade. She squeezed his wrist, hard. Please, trust me. Another scream. Every instinct Jahi had, every lesson his father taught, every value Taiwo reinforced, screamed at him to help. I'm sorry, he said quietly. He pulled free and walked toward the East Wing. Jahi, don't. But he was already moving, cane tapping a path through unfamiliar territory. The East Wing smelled wrong. Jahi stopped at the entrance. Keycard reader beeped red when he approached. Locked, of course, but the door sat slightly ajar. Someone had left in a hurry. The smell hit him like a physical force. Copper blood. Thick. Fresh. Lots of it. Gunpowder. Recently fired. Sharp chemical bite. Fear sweat. The acrid kind that came with terror. Antiseptic trying and failing to cover it all. Sounds painted the picture his eyes couldn't. Rapid heart monitor beeping. Erratic. Dangerous rhythm. Instruments clattering. Hands shaking. Heavy breathing. Multiple people. Panic barely contained. Then, clink. Metal hitting metal. Bullet dropping into kidney dish. Jahi jumped. Clink. Another bullet. Clink. Another. We're losing him. A surgeon's voice. Shaking. Terrified. Different voice. Cold. Mechanical. If he dies, you die. And so do your families. The unmistakable sound of a gun cocking. Jahi's breath caught. He should run. Should get Taiwo. Should follow the promise he made. But someone was dying. And he was a surgeon. Or would be. Same thing. He stepped inside. The air felt wrong. Oppressive. Cold despite surgical lights. Jahi's skin prickled with the awareness of violence hovering just beneath the surface. If you open him that way, you're going to kill him. The words left his mouth before his brain approved them. Everything stopped. Machines still beeped, but human movement ceased. All heads turning toward the doorway, toward the small boy in school uniform, holding a white cane. What the? A guard's voice. How did a kid get in here? Footsteps approaching. Fast. Aggressive. Jahi raised his free hand. I heard screaming. I came to help. You're not supposed to be here. Gun chambering around. Close. Too close. You're not supposed to see this. I didn't see anything. I'm blind. Pause. confusion rippling through the room. "Look at his eyes," someone muttered. A woman, Nurse Haywon. He recognized her jasmine perfume, ran to him, grabbed his arm. "He's blind. He must have gotten lost. Please don't hurt him." "I didn't get lost." Jahi's voice steadier than he felt. "I heard screaming. I followed it. And that man on your table is dying. Kid, you need to leave." I counted 7 bullets. Jahi tilted his head, listening to the patient's labored breathing, the blood pooling with different resonance in different body cavities, different trajectories, different depths. 3 through and through, clean extractions. 4 still lodged. 1 nicked his hepatic artery. The lead surgeon's voice, trembling. "How can you possibly?" "I can hear it. The blood pooling has different acoustic properties depending on which cavity it's in. And the hepatic artery," Jahi pointed. "There. You can hear the pressure differential. Arterial flow is disrupted." Silence. "He's right." Nurse Haywon. Quiet, shocked. "The ultrasound confirms hepatic artery involvement." "We don't have time for this," the surgeon started. Suddenly, monitors screamed. Heart rhythm chaotic. Blood pressure plummeting. Flatline. A gun pressed against the surgeon's head. Metal on skin. "Fix him." The surgeon's hands shook violently. Too much. Couldn't work like this. Jahi stepped forward. Cut 2 millimeters right of the hepatic vein. Inferior approach. 30 seconds before irreversible brain damage. "That's insane." 25 seconds. "Do you want to save him or watch him die?" The guard pressed the gun harder. "Do what he says." The surgeon looked at this small blind boy, at the gun, at the dying man. Cut where Jahi directed. Suction ready. Arterial spray in 3, 2, 1. Blood sprayed exactly as predicted. Clamp the bleeder. 10 o'clock position from your current angle. The surgeon followed instructions. Monitors stabilized. Slightly. Heart rhythm trying to restart. Then the door exploded open. "Jahi!" Dr. Taiwo. Voice contorted with more fear than Jahi had ever heard. Every gun in the room swiveled toward him. But Taiwo didn't stop, didn't flinch. Eyes locked on the small boy standing in a room full of blood and bullets and death. "The boy comes with me. Now." A guard blocked his path. "Can't do that, sir. Tell Han Tae-jun that my friend's son will have nothing to do with him." The name landed like a bomb. Jahi's head snapped toward Taiwo. How did he know who owned this wing? The guard spoke into his radio. "Listen to the response. Boss says, both stay until he wakes. Then he decides what happens to them. The boy saved his life, which is why we're not shooting you both right now. But boss's orders stand." Taiwo's eyes met where Jahi stood. "Are you hurt?" "No." "Then help me save this bastard, so we can get out of here." Chapter 11. The Angel and the Devil. The surgery took 3 hours. 3 hours of Jahi directing, Taiwo assisting, the lead surgeon following instructions from a 12-year-old blind boy. First bullet. 3 o'clock position from the hepatic vein. Angled forceps. Handle toward you, Dr. Kim. Not away. Suture that vessel. 5-0 chromic. Figure 8 pattern for pressure distribution. Second bullet. Shallow. Right anterior chest wall. Simple extraction, but watch for rib fragments. The surgical team had stopped questioning around minute 40, started trusting, started working as a unit with Jahi as the unexpected conductor. Third bullet lodged against 6th rib. You'll feel bone resistance. Don't force it. Leverage at a 15-degree angle. Taiwo watched his son, his brilliant, impossible son, perform surgery without touching the patient, just listening, knowing, understanding in ways that shouldn't be possible. Ezekiel, if you can see him now. Fourth bullet's the dangerous one, Jahi said quietly. It's moved since initial penetration, currently lodged near T7 vertebra, close to the spinal cord. The surgeon's hands stilled. How do you know it moved? His nerve responses are asymmetric. Right side is compensating differently than left. The bullet's pressing on the nerve root. Dr. Kim checked with imaging. He's right. It shifted during transport. Of course he's right, Taiwo murmured. He's always right. 4 more bullets extracted, each one precisely where Jahi said it would be. Then the 7th. The impossible one. It's against the spine, Dr. Kim said. If I slip even a millimeter, You won't. Jahi's voice calm. Certain. 4 millimeters lateral from current position. Curved approach at 20-degree angle. Retract surrounding tissue gently. You're working around nerve bundles. Irrigate to clear the visual field. Then extract on a 3 count. Steady pressure. No jerking motion. This violates every protocol I know. Protocols didn't account for 7 bullets fired at close range. Trust me. Please. Dr. Kim looked at Taiwo. Taiwo nodded. 1. Dr. Kim positioned the instruments. 2. Curved approach. Tissue retraction. 3. The bullet slid free. Clean. Perfect. No nerve damage. The monitors stabilized. Blood pressure rising. Heart rhythm normalizing. Brain activity strong. The room exhaled collectively. Jahi swayed. Taiwo caught him before he hit the floor. I've got you. You did it. Is he going to live? Yes. Because of you. Jahi's small smile. Good. His legs gave out. Taiwo carried him to a chair. This boy, who weighed nothing, who'd just saved Seoul's most dangerous crime lord, who'd broken his promise but kept something more important, his oath to help people. Dr. Kim removed his mask, hands still shaking but from awe now, not fear. What technique was that? I don't know. Jahi's voice muffled against Taiwo's shoulder. It felt right. Like ingredients in a recipe. They just fit together. You're lying. That was too precise. He's not lying, Taiwo said firmly. His father developed unique surgical approaches. I had them converted to Braille. Jahi adapted them based on what he heard happening in the patient's body. His father, recognition dawning. You said Campbell. Dr. Ezekiel Campbell? The Campbell who pioneered minimally invasive mitral repair? Yes. Dr. Kim's voice cracked. He was my mentor. The best surgeon I've ever known. I'm so sorry for your loss. Thank you, Jahi whispered. He'd be so proud of you. Jahi's throat closed. Couldn't speak. Taiwo spoke for him. We're leaving now. Not so fast. The guard who'd held the gun stepped forward. You both stay until boss wakes. Then he decides. He's 12 years old. Old enough to save a life. Old enough to wait for the consequences. They waited in a small recovery room. 2 hours. The patient, this Han Tae-jun, this dangerous person from Taiwo's past, sleeping off anesthesia. Jahi sat beside Taiwo on an uncomfortable couch. Close enough their shoulders touched. I'm sorry I broke my promise. I know why you did. Are you angry? Terrified. But not angry. Taiwo's arm went around his shoulders. You have your father's heart. It'll save lives. It'll also probably get you killed someday. Uncle, I need you to understand something. The man you saved, Han Tae-jun, he's the most dangerous person in Seoul, possibly in all of South Korea. How do you know him? Long silence. Then, we grew up together, like friends, like brothers. Jahi sat up. You have a brother. Had. The person he became. That's not someone I want in your life. What happened to him? Things I don't talk about. Things I've spent 30 years trying to forget. But, the door opened. A guard stepped in. He's awake. Wants to see the boy. Absolutely not. Both of you. Now. Taiwo stood. Positioned himself between Jahi and the guard. If this is a trap, if boss wanted you dead, you'd already be dead. He wants to talk. That's all. They entered the recovery room. A man lay in the hospital bed. IV lines running. Bandages across his torso where 7 bullets had been. Late 40s, Jahi guessed from the voice. Dangerous, even weakened. Every instinct screamed predator. But his heartbeat was steady, strong, alive. Because of Jahi. The man's eyes opened. Sharp, intelligent, assessing. Found Jahi. Studied him like a puzzle that needed solving. Long silence. Then, so you're the blind angel who saved the devil's life. Jahi's head tilted. Fearless. I'm not an angel, sir. I'm just a boy who couldn't ignore screaming. Something flickered in Tae-jun's eyes. Surprise. Recognition. Something that might have been pain. His gaze shifted to Taiwo. Expression hardening. Hello, brother. It's been a long time. Taiwo's face turned to stone. Jahi's breath caught audibly. Brother. Chapter 12. Brothers revealed. The word didn't make sense. Brother. Uncle Taiwo didn't have a brother. He'd said so. multiple times over the years. Only child. No siblings. Just him and Jahi against the world. Except that was apparently a lie. Don't call me that. Taiwo's voice could have cut glass. What should I call you then? Tae-jun shifted in the bed, winced. 7 bullet wounds would do that. Dr. Adeyemi? Too formal for people who shared a childhood. We shared a father. That's biology, not family. Semantics. Truth. Jahi's head swiveled between them. Tracking voices. The tension was so thick he could taste it. Metallic. Bitter. Like old anger left to corrode. Uncle Taiwo. His voice came out smaller than intended. You really have a brother? Had. Taiwo's hand found Jahi's shoulder. Protective. The person I grew up with died a long time ago. You buried me at Jeju. Tae-jun said. Voice flat. I remember. You gave quite the eulogy. The brother I knew wouldn't have done this. Very moving. You killed children. The words dropped like stones into still water. Jahi flinched. They came armed, Tae-jun started. They were 15 years old. They came to kill me. Both men breathing hard now. Jahi heard it. Elevated heart rates, adrenaline spiking. 30 years of buried rage surfacing. Uncle, please, Jahi said quietly. He just had major surgery. You're going to make him code. Despite everything, Tae-jun almost smiled. Smart kid. He's not your concern. Taiwo bit out. He saved my life. That makes him very much my concern. Silence. Dangerous. Heavy. Then Tae-jun turned to Jahi. How old are you? 12. 12. Long exhale. And already a better surgeon than the man I paid 5 million won. Better than most surgeons, period. I'm not a surgeon yet, sir. Just learning. Humble too. Back to Taiwo. You've raised him well, brother. I said. I heard what you said. Doesn't make it less true. Tae-jun's expression shifted. Something softer underneath the predator. He's extraordinary. You should be proud. I don't need your approval. Never said you did. But you have it anyway. Taiwo's jaw clenched so tight. Jahi heard teeth grinding. We're leaving. Not yet. Tae-jun's voice. Not threatening. Just certain. The boy deserves to know the truth. He doesn't need to know anything about you. He deserves to know he has an uncle. A family member beyond just you. Especially since. Tae-jun's eyes narrowed. You're dying. Taiwo went rigid. Jahi's breath stopped. What? The word barely made it out. I don't know what you're talking about, Taiwo said. Don't lie. I've seen enough dying men to recognize the signs. The weight loss, the pallor, the way you're breathing. Shallow, careful, like deeper breaths hurt. Tae-jun sat up straighter, despite obvious pain. How long? 6 months? A year? That's none of your business. It is when it affects this boy. When you die, and you will. Who takes care of him? I've made arrangements. What arrangements? Foster care? He's 12, blind, brilliant. You think the system will know what to do with him? Stay out of my life. Taiwo's shout echoed off the walls. Jahi stood between them. Small, shaking. Stop. Both of you. Stop. They stopped. Looked at him. Jahi turned toward Taiwo. Are you dying? Silence answered. Uncle Taiwo, answer me. Are you dying? Yes. The word barely a whisper. The world tilted. Everything Jahi thought was solid. The ground. The future. The belief that he'd have Taiwo for years and years. Crumbled like sandcastles at high tide. How long have you known? 5 years. 5 years? The shout tore from Jahi's chest. You've been lying to me for 5 years. I didn't want you to worry. I'm not a baby. Stop treating me like one. Tears burned behind his sightless eyes. Everyone I love dies. Mum, Dad, and now you. Everyone dies, and everyone lies about it. Jahi. How long? His voice broke. How long do you have? Taiwo's pause lasted 3 heartbeats too long. Tell me. A year. Maybe less. Jahi's legs gave out. He sank to the floor. Pulled his knees to his chest. Started counting heartbeats because that's what you did when the world ended. You counted something. Anything. To prove you were still alive. Taiwo dropped beside him. I'm sorry. I should have told you. I was scared. Of what? Of seeing you look at me differently. Like you are now. Like I'm already dead. You are dying. I'm living. For as long as I have, I'm living. With you, that's all I wanted. Jahi pressed his forehead to his knees. It's not enough time. No, it's not. From the bed, Taejun watched. Something in his expression shifting. The predator receding. Something almost human emerging. I can help, he said quietly. We don't want your help. Taiwo said. Yes, we do. Jahi's head came up. If he can give us more time, we take it. Jahi, I already lost my parents. I'm not ready to lose you too. Tears streaking down his face. If he can help, let him. Pride is stupid if it means you die sooner. Taiwo pulled him close. I'll think about it. Think fast. They sat there on the hospital floor. Uncle and nephew, guardian and ward, father and son in all the ways that mattered, holding on while time ran out. Chapter 13. Ghosts of Jeju. They went home eventually. The guards let them leave after Taejun gave the order. No threats, no conditions. Just, you're free to go. But Jahi felt anything but free. He felt trapped in a nightmare where everyone he loved came with expiration dates. That night, he couldn't sleep. Lay in bed listening to Taiwo move around the apartment. The particular creak of his bedroom door. The shuffle to the bathroom. Water running. Then that cough. The one Jahi had been pretending didn't sound wrong for months. He counted to 30. Got up. Found Taiwo hunched over the bathroom sink. The smell of blood unmistakable. Don't lie, Jahi said from the doorway. Please don't lie anymore. Taiwo straightened slowly. Wiped his mouth. I wasn't going to. How bad? Bad. Months? Weeks? Months. Maybe 6 if the treatments work. Maybe less if they don't. The floor seemed to drop away. That's not enough time. I know. They went to the living room, sat on the couch that smelled like fabric softener, and 8 years of memories. Taiwo pulled Jahi close. I need to know about Han Taejun, Jahi said. About Jeju. About why you hate your own brother. It's complicated. I'm 12, not 6. I can handle complicated. Taiwo was quiet for long enough that Jahi thought he wouldn't answer. Then, our father was a monster, and the story spilled out. Marcus Adeyemi Han, half Nigerian, half Korean, built a criminal empire on fear and blood. Started as a low-level enforcer, climbed to the top by being more ruthless than everyone else. My mother, my biological mother, was his wife. Beautiful woman, kind, everything he wasn't. Taiwo's voice went distant. She tried to shield me from his world, sent me to good schools, made me promise I'd be a doctor, not a criminal. What happened to her? Rival gang. Shootout when I was 8. She was buying groceries. Voice cracking. Wrong place, wrong time. Bled out before the ambulance came. I'm sorry. Father replaced her within 6 months. Brought home a pregnant woman. Min Seo. Korean. Young. Terrified. Nowhere else to go. Taejun's mother? Yes. She gave birth 6 months after moving in. Father was thrilled. Another son meant competition. Meant we'd fight for his approval. Taiwo's hands clenched. He loved pitting us against each other. That's horrible. We grew up in that house. Fighting, competing, but also bonding. He was my brother despite everything. Voice softening. He was funny, smart, protective even when I didn't deserve it. So what changed? I left. Won a scholarship to medical school. Turned 18 and ran. Didn't look back. Didn't call. Just abandoned him with our father. You didn't abandon him. You saved yourself. Try telling my guilt that. Pause. 10 years later, father died. Heart attack. I came to the funeral. Thought I owed him that much. Hadn't seen Taejun in a decade. Was he different? Completely. Harder. Colder. Everything our father had been. Taiwo pulled away. Started pacing. There was a succession challenge. Rival factions sent 7 young men to the funeral. Teenagers. Armed but scared. They'd been ordered to prove they could take over the empire. Jahi's stomach twisted. What happened? Taejun challenged them. 1 against 7. They agreed. Thought numbers would win. Taiwo's voice shook. He killed 6 in under 2 minutes. Combat training father had drilled into him since childhood. The 7th, the youngest, 16 years old, They dropped his weapon, raised his hands, begged for his life. And Taejun shot him anyway, in the head, while the kid cried for his mother. Jahi's breath caught. I ran to stop him, asked what the hell he'd done. He said, what father would have done, what I had to do to survive. Maybe he was right. Taiwo spun. What? Maybe he had to. To survive. Jahi's voice thoughtful. You left. You had medical school. A way out. He didn't. He was trapped. And if he'd shown mercy, they would have come back. With more men. They would have killed him. He became a murderer. He became a survivor. There's a difference. Jahi tilted his head. I'm not saying it was right, but maybe it was necessary. And maybe you hate him because you feel guilty you weren't there, that you left him alone in that world. Silence. Long. Painful. When did you get so wise? Taiwo asked finally. I had a good teacher. They sat together in the quiet. He wants to help you, Jahi said. With the cancer. Let him. I don't trust him. You don't have to trust him. You just have to let him try. Taiwo pulled him into a hug. When did you become the adult? About 5 minutes after you told me you're dying. Despite everything, Taiwo laughed. It turned into a cough. The cough lasted too long. But at least they were laughing. At least they still had that. Chapter 14. Halmione's Fury. Taejun was contemplating the morphine drip when his grandmother walked in. Halmione, Han Sun-hee, didn't knock, didn't announce herself, just entered like a force of nature in traditional hanbok and orthopedic shoes. 84 years old, spine straight, eyes sharper than most people a third her age. The guard at the door took one look and fled. Smart man. Can I have a word with my grandson? Voice like winter. Taejun tried his most charming smile. Halmione, I just survived 7 bullets. And whose fault is that? Technically? Kim Dae-jung's crew who ambushed. Whose fault? The smile died. Mine. Correct. She advanced. He retreated. Tried to, anyway. Hard when you're in a hospital bed with fresh surgical wounds. She grabbed his ear. The ear. Like he was 6 instead of 48. Ow. Halmione. My stitches. Should have thought of that before getting shot. She tugged. Hard. Taejun scrambled out of bed despite doctor's orders. They circled the hospital furniture. Him in a hospital gown. Her in traditional dress. Both deadly serious. This is the 3rd time this year. 2nd. OW. Don't correct your grandmother. I'm 48 years old. Then act like it. Outside the door, guards pretended very hard not to exist. One pulled out his phone. Started recording. This would be legendary at the next security meeting. Taejun made it around the bed. Breathing hard. Stitches pulling. Then he pretended to collapse. Ah. Can't breathe. Stitches tearing. Halmione's fury evaporated. Panic took its place. She rushed over, helped him to bed with surprising strength. Where? Show me where? He grinned. Her eyes narrowed to dangerous slits. Liar. She swatted him with her cane. Not hard enough to hurt, just hard enough to make the point. But tears streamed down her weathered face. You want to kill me before my time? Is that your goal? Halmione. I'm 84 years old. My heart can't take this. She grabbed his face in both hands. You're all I have left. Your mother? Gone. Your father? Gone. Everyone I've loved? Gone. Just you. Just my stupid, reckless grandson. I'm sorry. Then, stop, please. Her voice broke. I'm begging you. I can't. This is who I am. This is who you chose to be. There's a difference. She sat heavily. Choices can be unmade. Not mine. Not after Jeju. She flinched. They didn't speak of Jeju. Ever. You were 18. A child. I was old enough to know better. You were surviving. Same thing as choosing? They sat in weighted silence. Then Halmione shifted tactics. I saw someone today. At the hospital. I don't care about hospital gossip. Taiwo. Taejun went still. Taiwo. He pretended not to recognize me. But I'd know those eyes anywhere. Your father's eyes. Both of you have them. Pause. You knew he was here. I've known for years. Why didn't you reach out? He doesn't want to be reached. Taejun picked at the IV line. Better that way. He has a son now. Ward. Not biological. You know about the boy. The boy saved my life tonight. 12 years old, blind. Most brilliant surgeon I've ever seen work. Hermione's eyebrows rose. The blind child the nurses are whispering about. Yes. What's his name? Jahi Campbell. She tested the name, liked it. And you've decided to protect him. I owe him a life debt. You've decided to protect him, she repeated, knowing her grandson better than he knew himself. Because he's your nephew. Because Taiwo found purpose. And you haven't. Direct hit. Tae-jun looked away. Have you found purpose beyond survival? Beyond proving you're your father's son? No one would miss me if I died. She hit him with her cane hard. I'm no one, Hermione. Stop talking nonsense before you give me a heart attack. She stood, arranged her hanbok with dignity. This boy, Jahi, I want to meet him. Absolutely not. Taiwo would never. Bring him to dinner. Next Sunday. That wasn't a request. She moved toward the door. I want to meet the child who did what I've been trying to do for 40 years. What's that? Kept you alive despite your best efforts to die. She left. Tae-jun slumped against pillows, exhausted. 84-year-old Korean women were more dangerous than any gang in Seoul. Chapter 15. When hair falls like rain. 3 months bought with experimental treatments became 6. 6 became 9. Then the cancer adapted, became resistant, started winning. Jahi woke one morning, 13 now, voice deeper, body taller but still too thin, to find hair on Taiwo's pillowcase. Not much, just strands, but enough. He ran his fingers over them, felt the texture, smelled the chemical scent of aggressive chemotherapy, smelled time running out. Uncle? He called down the hall. No answer. Found Taiwo in the bathroom, sitting on the closed toilet, head in hands. More hair had fallen overnight. It's getting worse, Taiwo said. No emotion, just fact. How much worse? 8 weeks, maybe 12. 2 months, maybe 3. Not enough. Never enough. Jahi's composure shattered. No, we find another treatment. Uncle Tae has connections. We've tried everything. There's nothing left. There's always. Jahi, gentle but firm. It's time to accept it. I'm dying. The treatments gave us extra time. Beautiful time. But this is the end. Nahi sank to the bathroom floor, pulled knees to chest. I'm not ready. Neither am I. I don't know how to be alone. Taiwo slid down beside him. 2 people on cold tile facing the inevitable. You won't be alone. Tae-jun will. I don't want Uncle Tae. I want you. I know, baby. I know. He hadn't called Jahi that in years. It broke something in both of them. They cried together until there were no tears left. The next weeks blurred. Taiwo got weaker, lost more weight, stopped working, couldn't anymore. Jahi helped him shower, helped him eat, helped him to the bathroom when walking became impossible. Roles reversed. Child caring for parent. Tae-jun visited daily, brought food Taiwo couldn't eat, sat with him when Jahi was at school. 2 brothers reconciling in silence and presence. One afternoon, Taiwo asked, Do you regret Jeju? Tae-jun considered. I regret you saw it, but no. I did what I had to do. I won't apologize for surviving. Fair. Silence. Will you really take care of him? With my life. Keep him good. He's not like us. He's pure. I'll try. Don't try. Do it. Or I'll haunt you. You'd be a terrible ghost. Damn right. Hermione visited. Brought soup and prayers. Held Taiwo's hand. You were always my favorite, she whispered. So brave, so good. I left. You survived. That's all that mattered. Chapter 16. The last Sunday. 2 weeks before the end. They made Jamaican rice one final time. Sunday tradition. 8 years of Sundays. One last time. Jahi cooked while Taiwo watched from bed. Too weak to help, could barely smell it, but smiled anyway. Tell me what you smell, Taiwo whispered. Jahi described every ingredient, every memory. Time. From the first Sunday after Dad died. I burned it. You said that's how we learn. Scotch bonnet. From when I burned my tongue and you laughed till you cried. Then felt guilty and gave me milk. Allspice. From when you said I reminded you of Mum. You told me she hummed while cooking. Like I do. Taiwo cried. Couldn't stop. Dad would be so proud. Mum too. She is proud. She's in you. Your compassion, your brilliance, all her. What's from you? The love. That's mine. Everything else I just protected. 2 weeks later, Tuesday evening, Taiwo slipped away. Jahi was reading to him. Braille edition of their favorite book. Heard the breathing change. Then stop. He sat in silence. 17 minutes. Counting heartbeats that weren't there. Then carefully closed the book. Kissed Taiwo's forehead. Thank you for choosing me. Taijun arrived 20 minutes later. Found Jahi beside the bed, holding Taiwo's hand. Not crying, just present. He's gone. I know. The funeral was small. People who'd truly known Taiwo. Jahi spoke. He taught me blindness isn't darkness, just a different way of seeing light. He taught me family isn't blood. It's choice. He chose me when I had nothing. I choose to honor him by living like he taught me, with compassion, precision, love. After, at the grave, Taejun knelt beside Jahi. You come home with me. I don't want to be a burden. You're family. I protect family. You're a mafia boss. And you're a 13-year-old blind genius who just became an orphan for the 3rd time. We'll figure it out. Small smile. He made you promise, didn't he? Swore on our mother's grave. Then I guess I'm stuck with you. I guess you are. They stood as the sun set over Seoul. Uncle and nephew, mafia boss and blind surgeon. 2 broken people choosing each other, because that's what family did.